Hello, everyone. I'm just going to wait a couple minutes, or a couple seconds, to see if we have any more people show up before I get started. But welcome to our Ideas Fund information session. I'm super glad to see so many people turning out tonight. Okay, well, let's get started. Welcome to the Ideas Fund information session. My name is Kathleen Ralph. I am the Student Experience Coordinator for the Faculty of Science. And I would like to introduce my co-host for the evening, Tanvi Sankar, who is a science ambassador, and she's going to be helping me with the presentation. In the background is going to be Amanda Leong and Isaac Rosen. They are both science ambassadors for the Faculty of Science, but they are also part of the Ideas Fund Adjudication Committee. So while the presentation is going forward, if you would like to ask any questions in the chat, they will be available to answer those questions for you. As we get started, I would like to do our traditional territorial acknowledgement. We'd like to acknowledge the traditional territories of the people of the Treaty 7 region in southern Alberta, which includes the Blackfoot Confederacy, comprising of the Siksika, Piikani, and Kainai First Nations, as well as the Tsuut'ina First Nation and the Stoney Nakoda, including the Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Wesley First Nations. The City of Calgary is also home to Métis Nation of Alberta Region 3. So you're all here to find out about the Ideas Fund, and I'm super excited to tell you about it. I've been running the Ideas Fund since its inception, and it's one of our favorite things in the Faculty of Science. It was created in 2017 as a science student activity fund. So what it's for is it's to expand all the things that you can do with your degree through non-credit activities. So it's non-academic. It's not things that you're going to be doing in university. It's things that you're going to be doing outside of the classroom. It's open to all undergraduate science majors. You are entitled to apply for up to $2,500 over the course of your degree. So you can do one big activity, or you can do a bunch of small activities as long as it doesn't go over that total of $2,500. These opportunities are funded through generous donations of our alumni and supporters of science education. So all the money that goes into the Ideas Fund to go to students has nothing to do with our operating funds. It's all through gifts to the university, specifically to the Faculty of Science, for these experiential learning activities. You will see that we have provided a list of suggestions of activities. It's going to pop up under files in your chat. These are just a short list of things that you can consider, and it's certainly not exhaustive. It's just a few things that we've sort of come up with that are going to be running over the spring and summer. And we certainly suggest that you look beyond those suggestions to find things that are relevant to you, relevant to your degree, and what your future degree plans are. I'm going to turn it over to Tanvi, and she's going to tell you more about the Ideas Fund.
So what can the Ideas Fund do for you? Well, some past recipients have used the fund to pay for travel to study abroad, do research abroad, help fund travel to international and national internships, to host conferences on campus and in the community, to do volunteer work internationally, and to attend conferences and hackathons. So one recipient funded a trip to India to help create a freshwater system for a community. Another traveled to Ecuador to provide healthcare to school children. Our first recipient traveled to Australia to participate in an aerospace conference. And then a group of computer science students hosted a technology conference on campus. And another traveled to Ottawa to participate in a tech conference and secured a summer job at the career fair over there. So the faculty understands that opportunities to travel are limited, but there are still tons of COVID-safe opportunities that you can consider. Many conferences have moved to an online format, and you can attend any number of conferences hosted around the world from the safety of your home. There are research poster sessions you can attend and participate in. You can host a virtual hackathon, or your club could run a Zoom speaker series and provide an honorarium for the speakers. You could organize a group of peers to run a student-focused career or research night. Have you been tinkering away on an autonomous robot in your garage and you need money for a prototype? Do you have a great idea about creating a volunteer opportunity for yourself or your peers? Now is a great time to think outside of the box and take that next step to enhance your university experience. We're putting up a poll to see when you're thinking about applying for the fund. so we know what you're thinking about. So the application has three main parts: the activity description, the budget, and the communication plan of how you will give back after your activity. Successful applicants say that the process took them about an hour. So to help you, we've just put a link to the handbook for the fund in the chat if you guys want to download it. So the activity description. This is the part where you sell the activity to the adjudication committee. So give lots of details, make sure you're telling them how specific activities are going to help you in your degree or help you get a job after university. Are you running an event? What is your specific role? And make sure that you talk about the skills that you will develop. And don't forget to link the conference if you're attending one. So that's the activity description, and next is the communication plan. So a big part of the ideas process is giving back to the university community. Think about how you can pass on things that you've learned throughout your activity. This is an important part of the application, so make sure you don't neglect it. So how will you show others what you have learned? Make sure your plan is achievable. So don't promise to do a news segment on TV if you have no way to achieve that. Make sure you have a timeline set up for your communications plan. It could be presenting to a club on campus, talking about it in a relevant class, or helping with Ideas Fund promotions in the future. And next is budget. So when you're budgeting, include all of the expenses you expect to incur, as long as they're fundable items. So Kathleen will talk more about this part later. But make sure you do your research and don't just estimate or guess on expenses. And another thing to remember is that the Ideas Fund will cover 50% of your in-Canada activity and 75% of an international opportunity. So give the full budget of your activity and make sure you're requesting the appropriate amount. And then once you apply, your application will go before an adjudication committee to be evaluated. And then once you're successful, you'll be expected to sign a code of conduct, provide receipts for your expenses, and write a reflection on how the activity impacted you. And now Kathleen is just going to talk about what the fund won't cover.
Hi. So all this sounds great, right? The Faculty of Science wants you to achieve your science goals, but there are things that the fund won't cover. So these include tuition. We're not going to pay for tuition for credit classes or for classes that you're going to be taking. It does not include research materials like lab equipment, chemicals, things like that. It won't cover computer hardware, so you can't request to have like a laptop. If you manage to get an experience where you can travel, it will cover your food, but it won't cover things like alcohol. So that's just part of the university's code of conduct. So that's a thing that we will not do. The fund won't pay for-profit initiatives. So if you want to start a startup company that's going to be making tons of money, the fund won't cover that. It also won't fund things like say software programs that would compete with university services. So I know that in the past, students have thought about maybe doing a comparison app that would compare textbook prices on Amazon to textbook prices at the bookstore, because the bookstore provides funding to the university or creates money for the university for student activities. We would not sponsor that because that would take money away from students at the university. So there's things like that you need to consider when you're applying. Would this negatively impact the university? Otherwise, there's certainly a much more comprehensive list of what the fund will and will not cover in the handbook. So please make sure to review that when you start looking at what you want to apply for. Our deadlines. So we're just wrapping things up. This is a very, very brief session for you guys. But for deadlines, the deadline for this round has been extended to February 18th. It's normally February 15th. And this would be for spring and summer activities. So activities that would happen between May and the end of August. The July 15th deadline will be for fall activities, so activities that run from September to December. And then the November 15th deadline would be for winter activities, so things that are happening right now. When you're applying, make sure that you apply for the right funding cycle. Otherwise, your application will not be approved, and we won't carry it over to the next application cycle because we only have so much money for each cycle. That's about it for us. So if you have any questions, we are available to answer them for you. And if you, if you put them in the chat, I will be happy to answer if there's anything upcoming. Please make sure to download the suggestion list. We'll also be posting that on the D2L portal, and have a look at the Ideas Fund webpage. There's tons of good information on there, as well as some notes from students who actually had received the Ideas Fund in the past. So are there any questions? Oh, how will long-term activities work with the Ideas Fund? Oh, so long-term activities, it depends on what it is. So, and it depends on when you want to be funded for it. So apply during the cycle that makes most sense for a long-term activity. So if you're looking at something that's going to be really long-term, more than a year, figure out when you're going to need the money the most for that activity, and then apply during that term, because that's when we would be funding it for you. When the recording is finished, we will be posting it on the Ideas Fund webpage. So if you are looking for more information, it will be on that website. We don't have the link yet because we haven't made it. Are there any other questions? So the document includes building a device or creating a website as an individual project, and those are eligible activities. Yes, so you can do that. Are there any special procedures or rules for clubs who want to apply? No, so you would apply as a group application. Make sure that you include your club name and what your activity is going to be. Clubs do get funded differently. Clubs do not have to, that won't come out of your individual total as a student. So usually for group activities, that comes out of your personal total for the lifetime of your degree. But for clubs, that is waived, because we recognize that clubs might want to be asking for funding year over year, and students shouldn't have to have that count against them for their lifetime total for individual activities. Is there any other questions that we can answer tonight? I don't necessarily want to keep you on video because I know that you guys are all zoomed out from attending online lectures. So, but I'm happy to stay and answer questions for you for as long as you have them. Is there a place where we can search for activities available for this fund? So any activity is available for this fund as long as it's applicable to your degree stream. So we have a short list that we sort of offered some suggestions, but anything that you can come up with, you can talk to your professors or your department and find out if there's something that's suitable for you. And you can definitely talk to them and find out if they have anything to suggest. Can a person only apply once in their lifetime? No, you can apply for as many projects as you want to apply for, as long as it doesn't max out your $2,500 sort of lifetime amount. So as an undergraduate student, for as many years as you are taking your degree, you can spread out that $2,500. You can do 5 conferences that cost $500, for example. Or if you decide that you want to wait to do a study abroad, you can use all of your funding all at once to fund that study abroad for your travel and food and stuff like that. So it's not a, it's very flexible. It's the most flexible activity fund on campus, as far as I know. You have, the opportunities for you are wide open. If you have further questions, please, there's actually an email that you can use on the Ideas Fund webpage, but you can also email science.engagement@ucalgary.ca. My research award requires a top up from the university. Would this qualify? That's a depends. So depending on what the top up is for. So if it is for lab materials, it would not be applicable. But if it's for other things, if it's for like textbooks, or if it's for safety equipment or something like that, then it would be. So in your suggested list, you mentioned that we can build a computer. Is there a special purpose we need to build the computer for? Since you mentioned you actually do not cover hardware, so we won't cover like a full hardware setup. But if you are looking to build a computer for a specific project or for an educational reason, we would definitely look at that, but you'd have to provide your rationale for what you wanted the computer for. So there's opportunities like that. So, it's a thing that might advance your career. Can the fund be used as a science research fund? Not specifically. So if, say, your research required you to go out in the field to collect samples and you needed to travel, so you needed money for gas and you needed to have, maybe a rental vehicle or something like that, we could provide funding for that. If your research is in a lab that's funded by the university, then we would not fund that. So it all depends on what the research is for and where you're taking it. If you were going to be doing an international research placement where you needed to travel to, say, Japan to do your research there, then you would apply for funding for travel and for anything specific that you would need for that trip or for funding. Okay, well, I think that is all that we have for now. So we will be posting the recording on the Ideas Fund webpage. So this year, the award only covers projects that don't require travel because of COVID, right? So yes, we are discouraging travel. The university is discouraging travel for undergraduate students. They say that undergraduate students cannot travel for any reason up until September. So because of that, we can't fund anything that involves travel. After that, because I'm not a fortune teller and I can't see the future, I don't know. In the fall, there may be opportunities for students to travel. And so for maybe the summer application period, there is an option for doing that. Generally, the Ideas Fund is an opportunity for students to travel to places that they don't normally go. This year, we're encouraging you to think about other things that you might want to do that don't include travel, because we don't want to run into promising to fund you for something over the summer that we can't actually do, that the university would say, no, we can't do that. So we don't want to make promises that we can't keep. Okay, I'm going to say that that's it. If you have any other questions, please email me at science.engagement@ucalgary.ca, and I would be happy to answer them there. It usually takes me about 2 or 3 days to answer emails, just because we get so many emails to that email box. But otherwise, I hope you all have a great evening. And I'm really glad that you came to the session. And I hope that you apply for the Ideas Fund, because it's a great opportunity for you. So have a great evening. And I'm really happy that you came out to our session.